Metal News Podcasting. Breaking news every week from Shane the Man Diablo. That's right, it's heavy metal news delivered to you hot and fresh every week. And now it's time for the host of this fine podcast, Shane Diablo. Hey baby, how you doing tonight? Feeling really good? Let's get it real tight. Gonna listen to an episode, have a little fun. Not listen, do a little episode. Do an episode, bring a little fun. Fun to the ears, fun to the buns. Buns, what are you talking about? Now I'm all fussy because I messed up my words. I was rapping really good till just a second ago. And now another second. Now another second. Now another second. Now I'm really goofing off and fuck. I'm goofing it. Heavy metal news, let's go. Hey, I'm sorry about it. I apologize, okay? It wasn't good. I can't rap. I've never been good at it. I don't know how people come up with rhyming things so quickly out of their minds. It's weird. You know, I mean, it's like poetry, but really fast, I guess. Was the seat too high? Is my head out? Welcome to episode 184 of this fine podcast, hosted by me, Shane Diablo, your best friend on YouTube. If you've made it here, you've traveled down some long roads, my friend. You have traveled long, far, and wide. You've seen what YouTube has to offer in this vector that we're in. And you're here now. And I hope that you stick around to the end of this episode. We've got your comments lined up. That's right, the fine folks that stick it out for the whole episodes. They reply to the last episode. So this is kind of fun for you too if you want to try and do this, is you get in on it. And then what happens is you write your comments and I read them. We do have a couple of new people down there. I'm fired up. We've got a bit of news here. Some news that we won't be talking about. The Maxi Cavalieri and Igor, they're going out on the road. And they're going to be doing it's fall 2025. They're going to be doing all of Chaos Say They. All of it. I'm trying to keep that glare out of my eyes. You see guys, how that, I'm trying to keep that going too. Looking pretty good. The face is slightly burned. It is hot as a son of a bitch out there. I am indeed in the heat all day. And it is miserable, and it is all heavy lifting all day long. So when I finally get into this podcast, which I'm doing for you right now, lovingly doing right now, it's just kind of nice to just kind of breathe it out, because I don't waste any time. I'm not a man who mucks around. I like to get things done, or I like to chill out and not do shit at all. Are you like me? Are you like that? What else are we not talking about? Oh, Gary Holt says, man, we are loving it with Rob Dukes back in the band. We're laughing all day long. We are having a hoot over here. I did want to talk briefly before we get into heavy metal news. Of course, that's not Corgan. This image you're seeing here, if you're watching the video podcast, that's not Billy Corgan. That is Geoff Tate. Now, which video was it that we just saw? Oh, LA Guns new guitar player is Geoff Tate's old guitar player. These guys, they have broken up, and their guitar player has went over to LA Guns. But that's Geoff Tate. He's got things, but I wanted to talk about Billy Corgan's podcast because this week's episode of The Magnificent Bastard, he's got one of his favorite bastards of all time, Paul Stanley. And I love Paul Stanley. I didn't mean to call him a bastard. That's what his podcast is. It's called The Magnificent Bastards. And he interviews his favorites. Guts are growling here. But I got an image here I wanted to show you guys really quick and I hope I stay out of the way of it because engaging interview, it's part 1. So next Wednesday, they're going to put out part 2 to Paul Stanley's interview. But I'm like, either Billy Corgan has an extremely small head or Paul Stanley has a massive head. because I could not stop thinking about this when I saw it. And I'm going to try to stretch this into a way where you can see it better. Does this cut the picture off? Why does it cut the picture off? Let's see. Maybe I've got a bigger head than both of them. But look at this. He's just got like this little child's head. Do you see that? Oh, this thing turns into a little hand when you're doing images. He's got a tiny little itty bitty head. It's got a lot of brains in it. I'll tell you that damn right. He's a very smart person, this guy. But it's a tiny little head, and he's got them tiny little cheeks, and he's just smitten about this interview with Paul. Do I got another image of it? I hope this isn't an image that I don't want you to see. Yeah, see? Look at the head comparisons there. Maybe I can sit right in the middle of them. What you guys talking about? What you guys talking about? I don't even know if that'll work, but anyways, look at that. Tell me what you think. I think his head's massive. I just kept saying, that's a tiny head, and that's a great big head. But they both have good brains in them, okay? This isn't some kind of a gotcha type of program that I'm running over here. I'm just saying that, it was hard. Every time I always appreciate that cameraman zooming in on their faces while they're talking. Because when he got the room shot, my brain just instantly went, big head, little head. What was the name of that band? Big Head Todd? Welcome to the episode. Vivian Campbell. News we're not talking about. Vivian Campbell is completely in remission for the first time since he was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2013. Lots of news that I'll sprinkle in there that we won't be talking about, but let's get into this one. I thought this was a very interesting story. Geoff Tate, former lead singer of Queensryche, says the funniest Spinal Tap moment of his career involved David Coverdale and the size of a sandwich meat. So he's talking about the pepperoni stick right away. David Coverdale is what some women would consider a sex symbol. And he's always Whitesnake was always sliding it in or something. And so it's a pepperoni stick that he's talking about. But let's see what happens. In a new interview with Finland's Tumanote, former Queensryche singer Geoff Tate was asked to name the funniest. Would you do me a kindness? What is the funniest Spinal Tap moment of your career? That's a very good question. I like that. The funniest Spinal Tap moment of your career? What's my question? Great question. If you're mouthing it right now, then good for you. Have you ever stepped on a nail? And can you tell me that story? That's a great question. And then I had another one that came to me last night. Maybe it'll come back. Funniest Spinal Tap moment. Mockumentary. This is Spinal Tap. And the fact... Okay, let's... Queensryche Geoff Tate. Funniest Spinal Tap moment of his career of reference to the classic 1984 film Mockumentary. This is Spinal Tap. And the fact that the many bands have talked about having experienced similar situations that the members of Spinal Tap found themselves in that feature film. He responded by transcript. All alone now, except for memories. Well, I don't know what he says. Well, my Spinal Tap moment would be the scene in the movie where I can't remember the characters' names, but the guys complaining about backstage in his dressing room with the sandwich meat. It wasn't a sandwich meat. It was a cucumber, was it? I thought Nigel Tufnell put the cucumber wrapped in aluminum foil in his pants. You've never seen that movie, Jeff? I'm telling you right now, I'm going to read this again because I suck at it. I'm starting to wonder if you've seen that movie. I can't remember the characters' names, but the guy complaining about backstage in his dressing room with the sandwich meat, Spinal Tap guitarist Nigel Tufnell. Oh, maybe he's talking about a different scene. Complaining about all the deli tray. I saw the reality of that in real life. Before the movie came out, I was on tour with Whitesnake. Are you familiar with them? Yes, indeed. Whitesnake lead singer David Coverdale was having a meltdown in his dressing room regarding the same issue about the catering and the meat didn't fit the sandwich. Well, Jeffrey says, and I swear somebody heard that and they wrote that into the Spinal Tap movies, what they did, years later, because it was the exact same scene at my function with Whitesnake, and they stole that from us. It's kind of what he's saying in a way. Yes, guys, I am responsible for the, isn't it they got to fold the meat, is what it was, as they put the big bologna slabs. He's like, no, you got to fold the meat and put it on the little breads. Now someone's going to say, you haven't seen the movie. Someone say that. I've had some real stinkers popping in on here as of late. Not on the podcast, but, just in the comments. Just really want to stick it to you. I think one was a band member that I did one of the songs. I can't remember what song it was on the first listen. And he's like, yeah, I wasn't in that on this album or whatever. And he's like, and you're very annoying. Go fuck somewhere else. Go somewhere else. Isn't that just nice to say that? That's what you tell all the people in your life that you don't want to be around. Go somewhere else. At the time, I remember I was very young. And I remember thinking, why is Coverdale upset about that? But the older I got, I really understood that he wanted it done. He wanted his dressing room set up the way he wanted it to be set up. It makes it better and easier for him, Mr. Coverdale. And that's why he has it there like that. And so it wasn't done right. So he was letting his guy know that he wasn't going to take it anymore. See where that's at. We pretty good on that? As previously reported, Spinal Tap 2. That's right. Here's some news you didn't know about. Throwing this in for free. Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues. The sequel to This Is Spinal Tap will receive a theatrical release on September 12th of this fine year of 2025. Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues, reunites director Rob Reiner. Indeed. Rob Reiner. With Christopher Guest. Every single one of his movies is hilarious. I'm telling you this right now, and you will know it to be true. Christopher Guest, and he's got Michael McKean and all of them in his movies, but if you look for Waiting for Guffman, if you look for A Mighty Wind, if you look for A Best in Show, if you look for, I'm telling you, every single Christopher Guest movie is comedy gold. As they reprise their iconic roles as legendary heavy metal band Spinal Tap in this long-awaited sequel. Guys, I think we're done with this. Because we got something right here. Dun dun dun. Bum, 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 bum. They've got matching t-shirts on. That is wonderful. That is love. That is friendship. That is... Are they wearing the same necklace? Ozzy Osbourne, the man, the myth, the legend, and his beloved Sharon Osbourne for 50 years. She's been right there, right by his side. Ain't I, Ozzy? I've been right by your side. You sure have, Sharon. You sure bleeding bloody have. But Sharon Osbourne reveals 2 artists she would have loved to see at the Ozzy's final concert. Now, I saw a news clip that said something about there was two bands there was someone she kicked off already on that thing. So I'm hoping if Blabbermouth is as fantastic and wonderful as I know they are, you see it week after week, incomparably done. Maybe there'd be something about that in here. Sharon Osbourne reveals 2 artists she would have. I would have loved to have these guys on the bill. Right, Ozzy? Oh, sure. Whatever you say, Sharon. Whatever you say. Judas Priest and AC/DC's Angus Young. That's wonderful. In a new interview with Music Business Worldwide, you gotta have it about business. Music business. It's the business music is. Am I going crazy, you guys? Am I going nuts? I'm passionate. That's what it is, I think. I'm passionate. But is music a business? That would be the question I would ask. Maybe not at its roots. It's about creativity and art and music and sounds. But you got to have business with music. And when you have music with business, you got to have it worldwide. Okay, guys, I need to pull it together here. I got to get going. Another story we will not be talking about, by the way, is James Michael. Are you familiar with him? On the band 6 a.m.'s Future. Well, he says, we don't have anything planned, and he's okay with that. More news nuggets like that coming at you. Oh, another one? You want another one right now? You need another quick nug? Megadeth and Half Sumo collaborate on Killing Is My Business 40th Anniversary Fightwear. Yep, you got that right. Now you can get sumo gear that's basically got Megadeth stuff on it. I had to look at the picture to see if it was actually sumo. That's part of the music business world right there. That's a good business decision. Killing is my business, and business is good. Music business world, collaborate on, yeah, why not? In a new interview, Music Business World, Ozzy's wife and manager Sharon spoke about the upcoming Back to the Beginning charity event, am I still in picture here? Event on July 5th at Villa Park in Birmingham, United Kingdom. The concert will mark the original lineup of Black Sabbath's last ever performance and Ozzy's final appearance as a solo artist. And I will tell you this right now, it's been an absolute pleasure. Think about all of the things you've done, seen, and witnessed while an Ozzy Osbourne song is playing. Would you like to hear one right now? I may have told this story before. Did I talk? Because I've told you about the last guy that we fired from a band. Did I tell you about the guy where Goodbye to Romance was playing? And we had a real, we had one guy that's like, got to be done, got to do it. He was a real music business worldwide type of guy. And, that's the hard part about playing in a band with your friends when you grow up is if there's somebody that's not quite cutting the mustard at the time or whatever, and they got to go, that's a hard thing to do, right? So a dear friend of ours, we had to let go. And man, oh man, that was rough. It was so rough, I buried my face in the couch and I wouldn't look up while the other 2 guys canned him. But what was, as I could hear them firing him, because I had my head covered with a pillow. As I heard them firing this man, so rudely, goodbye to romance. Goodbye to romance. Yeah, goodbye to friends. And even worse than that, the guy hadn't even walked in the room and set his shit down. He had new strings, new chords. He was holding bags, like he'd had some kind of a talking to. I don't know about this. I don't remember, but some kind of a talking to. Maybe you're not cutting the mustard. He says, I'm going to come down tomorrow and I'm going to have the mustard. I'm going to cut the mustard. And that's the day they got him. They got him, not me. Was I wimpy about it? Yes. And I would do it all again, to be honest with you. If I could duck out of stuff like that, oh man, I do. Well, Sharon had to talk about it. She's got things to say about it. She says this right here. She says, since Ozzy's illness, which has been 6 years, he said his one regret is that he never got the chance to say goodbye to his fans and everybody and that he's ever worked with. I mean, God, why am I such a bastard? And then it was like, okay, how do we do this without Ozzy just performing for 2.5 hours? Because Ozzy can't perform for 2.5 hours. No one should, Sharon. To be honest with you, give me a solid 60-minute rocker, and I'm good with you. Nobody needs to be. I'm telling you, nobody needs to be up there. Why did that jump up like that? That was weird. Is this self-correcting on me? I didn't have my hands on that when that went up. No one should perform for 2.5 hours doing anything. I don't care what it is. One of them gang pornos, I don't care. Nothing should be done for 2.5 hours. So then I thought of having all the bands he's ever had relationships with and perform and maybe do Sabbath songs and Ozzy songs. And I started to ask really close friends and they were like, sure, yeah. It became a celebration of the music and music business world, whom I'm talking to. All the generations are going to be there that Sabbath and Ozzy has passed the torch down to, and they have. Without Ozzy, without Black Sabbath, you ain't got shit. All right? Let's cut the mustard, and let's just say it right now. Without Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne, you know, and I'm sure you guys will get down there in the comments and tell me a few more. The Beatles. Everyone says, oh, the first time I sat down and I saw the Beatles, I says, I'm going to bite the head off of bats one day. I know I will. She continued, it became a celebration of the music. And all the generations are going to be there. It's going to be so much fun. And the only place that we could do it, and I tell you true, it would have been Aston, because that's where Ozzy was born and grew up, which is right conveniently by the Villa Ground, where the Villa Ground is. There are two. Thank you, by the way, music business worldwide, for this very lovely. But you asked me a question, and I shall get to it now. There are two bands that would have been loved to have been on there. But they couldn't because they were working that day. Yeah, remember Rob from Mr. Halford, the Metal God, he said, oh boy, I got me gigs over here in Detroit or somewhere. He couldn't make it over. And he grew up in the same Birmingham, England, down there with Ozzy. I mean, maybe not friends, but maybe they were. Well, there were two bands I'd love to see on there. So, oh boy. And that was Judas Priest, a local band, don't you know, and Angus Young from AC/DC. Oh, because he's always been a huge supporter of Ozzy. Fucking Malcolm Young, right? Malcolm and Angus. I learned a lot from that, and I would love to know if you guys got from the last episode, if you watched that Ted Albert's Australian Sound that talked about AC/DC, because man, oh man, I learned a lot. And Malcolm was a banger. He was ripping riffs left and right. Then you got old Noodle Boy over there, Angus. Then you got the older brother. I mean, they had a shoot. They not only had, when Angus Young and Malcolm Young were were teenagers, just fiddling around in the garage, starting a band up. Their older brother already had hits. So these guys not only had their foot in the door, they had their penis and pelvis in the door. They only had to get the top half through the door. I mean, bar the, I was going to use some kind of a fancy phrase like bar none or bar the, and it didn't work. It didn't work. But bearing, or what's the word for it, besides the fact that if Angus and Malcolm get in there and they stink, they're not getting a record deal. But barring that, so that's where I was trying to use that. I mean, they had their pelvis and penis in the door. Both of them together. Here's the door frame. Here's Malcolm's pelvis and penis. Here's Angus's, or maybe the other way around. I think little Angus is the tiny wee boy. He's a tiny little one. There are two bands, and that's who it would like to be. 4 back to the beginning Black Sabbath original lineup: Ozzy, the Prince of Darkness, Osborne, Tony Iommi, Geezer, Butler, and Bill Ward will reunite for the first time in 20 years to headline this sold-out event. They'll be joined by metal's most iconic and influential acts. Have you ever heard of any of these? Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Tool, Slayer, Pantera, Gojira, Hailstorm, Alice in Chains, Lamb of God, Anthrax, Mastodon, and Rival Sons, all performing as part of this monumental moment. I wish I could be there. I'm having anxieties around people anymore, man. I love to go to I'm a people watcher. I've told you this before. I like to go to a concert, and I love the atmosphere. I'm almost kind of bored halfway through a concert. Now, some of you are going to say, I ain't going to lie, Shane, I do too. The other half are going to go, you false metal, dude. Did you hear what he said? I tune into every fucking podcast so I can tell you exactly what he said on there that was false metal. Let me tell you what he said. He said that he starts to have not a good time about halfway through a concert. But it's true. You start to, but what I love to do is you know what I'm more interested in between bands, the setups. I love all that. Watching it be erected and, looking at all the people and the fans and the smoke plumes blowing in the air because they smoking the vapes and all this shit. And all of that. And then when the songs start, you go, oh, fuck. All right, I guess. How long's their set? 45 minutes? No, I'm kidding about that, but you get my meaning. Do you ever get bored at a concert? Your back ever hurt? Your legs ever hurt? Your wallet hurt? Last time I went to a concert, it was Ghost and Amon Amarst. And the beers, a 24-ounce can, just a tid bigger than that. This is 16 ounce. $17. I was broke the next day. I was broke. I had like 4 of them. And I took my son, my sweet boy, and his beloved, and his mother. And they didn't buy their drinks because Daddy buy the drinks. So they all got. My son's old enough. He's a man. They all had. I mean, now that I think about it, someone's going to say, well, Shane, why didn't your goddamn man-son pay for it? It's a very good question. He should have paid for the drinks. Anyways, thank God they only wanted 1 apiece. That was 17, 17, and 17, and then I had 4. I had to sneak off a couple times. Anyways, are you interested in doing it? Well, it's sold out, so you ain't going to do nothing, but backtothebeginning.com is the official website where you can go and see it. And do we have the official website for music business worldwide? This next story, guys, really got me thinking. Now, if you're wondering if these guys are in the same room, no. They never stand in the same room together. Clearly, you can see that's a shade different. They have Robert Trujillo in one room, and they have Tender Eyes over in the other room. Why? Well, James Hetfield is the god of rock and roll. He is the most beloved heavy metal singer of Metallica. I mean, he really, you know. And Robert Trujillo is, yes, he's been with him 25 years, yes. And I'll tell you right now, you sure as hell ain't treating this fella the way you treated old Jason Newsted, are you? I'll get out of the way. Take a look at that. Let's see him go ahead and give this guy some grief. How's that picture going to go up? Is that James? That's Robert? Give that guy some grief. Yeah, he ain't putting up with it. This one's gonna be a train wreck. Train wreck. What would James Hetfield and Robert Trujillo be doing if they weren't in Metallica? If Metallica didn't exist, what would they be doing? And they responded to that from a different room. But they did make them put on black tops. They said, well, we want to get good. If we decide we want to Photoshop it all, we need to be able to get at James's neck. And for you, we just want the head. So we need you to just put these black shirts on and then answer the damn questions. What would James Hetfield do? Robert Trujillo? It's a good question. Now, before I do my peeksy eyes, James is going to make the comment at least, I'd be dead. I'd probably be dead. And I want to do a video. This is a little off topic. You mind if I take you on a journey here? Just a quick journey. I wish I could bring the clip up. Because there is a 3.5-minute clip of James Hetfield from when he walks out by the side stage live, sits down, kind of gives himself a think. The roadie comes over, professional, hands him the guitar. Fans are right there. He turns to him. He says, hello. You know, he's busy in mind beforehand. But this 3 or 4 minute clip, I'm telling you, it shows you why James Hetfield is a fucking legend of heavy metal. It'll show you right there. Because the video ends with him finally up the stairs, out, turning shit on, into creeping death. Right up to the microphone, red lights, fire, boom. And you just go, there it is. Consummate, professional legend of heavy metal. So, maybe I'll do a video about it, maybe I won't. But go look that clip up if you can find it. It's just one of them. The kids are filming right there from the snake pit, and they come out, and it's just, I watched it, and I said, that is the most epic 3-4 minutes of my life. It was like watching a young James Hetfield in a garage make it all the way to the microphone to be who he is now. Do you understand what I'm saying? Is that a little too deep? In episode 98 of the Metallica Report. Now, guys, this is the official Metallica podcast. All right? So you were wondering, how in the hell did this guy, whoever he is, get both of those guys on a podcast? Never going to happen. Robert Trujillo, probably an easier get. James Hetfield, I don't know. But it is the official, so they're forced. Lars Ulrich forces them to do the podcast at least once a month. The Metallica Report, the podcast offering weekly insider updates on all things Metallica. Metallica frontman James Hetfield and bassist Robert Trujillo answered a couple of burning questions, listener questions indeed, addressing their influence, inspiration, and where life may have taken them if they weren't in Metallica. Asked by a fan from Denmark, what What would you be doing if they didn't play in Metallica? What could you be doing if you didn't play in Metallica? He asked by the fan in Denmark. You said that already, didn't you? Or did I read that twice? Trujillo, he always goes first. You do not get the legend of heavy metal rock and roll to go first. You let Robert Trujillo do it. Thank God Robert Trujillo did indeed answer that question. And he's a sweetheart of a guy, too. He looks like he could pulverize a gorilla, but he's just like a sweetheart. And isn't that wonderful? Someone that could just tear apart a small, goat, probably, is just a wonderful heart. I love that. It's a gentle giant type thing. What we'd be doing, you're asking, what we'd be doing? Well, what would I be doing? That's a good question. Well, I'd probably continue to play music, just like he was before he got that job with Metallica. He was with Suicidal Tendencies. He was in the Infectious Grooves. His son's a badass bass player. Okay? I love songwriting, so I always write songs. Even just for fun, I'll write a little tune. It's something that I do, so maybe I would get into songwriting. Be like the next Neil Sedaka. I saw I retweeted, or I re-TikToked, reposted a Neil Sedaka video. Because you know who Neil Sedaka is, anyone? I know a couple of you will. But he says, I'm feeling like I'm in 2025, but in my mind, ooh, I hear laughter in the rain, walking hand in hand with the one I love. Yeah. I'm telling you, there's a couple of them brutes out there that say, dude, he ain't metal, and you shouldn't listen to it. He don't know how to do heavy metal. But then there's, you know what? For every 10 of them, there's 500 that say, if there's anybody that knows heavy metal, it's that guy right there. And for that, I thank you. Well, I write songs. I love writing little fun little tunes, something like that. It's something that I do sometimes. So maybe I'd get into songwriting, become an independent songwriter, write a couple Chappell Roan hits, a couple Katy Perry hits, maybe get into production, spin it up. The other thing that I actually originally started to do, my first job, was in construction, of course. I'm telling you, through and through. Robert Trujillo is a construction man. I've seen him my whole life. So I always thought that maybe I would become a contractor. I think that my skills as an organizer, coordinator could help. I don't like kind of lifting heavy things anymore. Back in the day, he's going to tell you. He's going to tell you what he can lift right now. I could lift a couple sheets of drywall, no problem. Up to 3 flights of stairs. I did drywall. That shit's heavy. Okay? This guy isn't goofing off if he could do 3 of them at a time and cost efficient. They better have been paying you top dollar. Because you ain't, that goddamn contractor, Get that boy that lifts 3 panels up the 3 flights of stairs. Get him to do it. He better pay you good. I'd love to know. Robert, get in the comments, please, and tell me if you were paid well. I did drywall. I did hardwood floors for a long time. He's a craftsman. Learning that stuff was great because now if I see a fixer-upper property or a house, guess who else does that? I'm going to take my heavy metal street cred right back right now. Who else flips houses and does houses? Heavy metal. Singer. Bay Area. You got it? Chuck Billy. He's a home flipper. He does that when he's not selling vapes and Testament. I'd find a fixer-upper property or a house. I'm not afraid of it. You think that? No way. I always see the potential of it because I've done that on my own and I've experienced that. So I'm not afraid to remodel or rebuild. I'd probably be a contractor. You know, James is going to come right out saying I'm going to be dad. Something in trades. I'd be a tradesman of sorts. Because guess what, man? When the apocalypse, it's not going to happen, guys, okay? But if it was to ever happen like it was in a zombie book, that's the guy you want on your side. You don't need a lawyer. You don't need a computer geek. You don't need a, you don't need the CEO of the music business world, magazines.com. You need a tradesman. We got to get the plumbing going. We got to get the heat going. We got to get the houses built. We got to get the... And they look over at Robert. Oh, Robert. And you know what Robert does? I'll tell you what he... Look at that man. Look at that man when I tell you what he does for the zombie apocalypse. He does it. He doesn't even bat a damn eye. That's Robert. That's the Robert I know. We got to do James. Then we'll get the hell out of here. For his part, Hetfield said, "Oh, yeah, I'd be trying to form Metallica still. Probably. Still looking for Laws. You know him? He's Ulrich. Metallica drummer, co-founder. I got to say that too. I have to say that. Somewhere out there. Or I would really be involved in bands. I'd be roadieing. You got to say Motorhead. You got to say Motorhead. Or working in a studio. Hopefully helping make music somehow. Or graphic design. I love graphics. I love doing artwork. I also like doing trade stuff. Really? They should have put them in the same room. They've got a lot to talk about. Oh, that's how you start. See, I see craftsmanship right here. They're craftsmen. Oh, I also like doing trade stuff. Craftsmanship with wood and with metal too, and building stuff. Maybe that would have turned into something too. But music is a gift I've been given. And you've given that gift to us, James. From my heart to your heart, you have given that gift to us. All joking aside, all goofs aside, all of that beside, you have given us, you've given me. You gave me some of the biggest pleasures of you gave me some of my first time ever pleasures with your music playing. It's a gift indeed, but it is to ours. We're just trying to kick some doors down and get into it somehow. As previously reported, indeed, my friends, it continues on. The Metallica M72 tour will return to Europe in 2026. Support on the trek, which will run from May to July next year, will come from Gojira, Knocked Loose, Pantera, and Avatar. Boy, Knocked Loose. There's a band, right? I saw them live. I want to say it was with Gojira. It was Alien Weaponry, Knocked Loose, and Gojira. For some reason, I went to two concerts really close to each other. And so I mix up those bands make love to each other in my mind. And so I saw Gojira, Knocked Loose, Alien Weaponry. And then just a scant something later, I saw Opeth, Mastodon, and somebody else, okay? But good news there, guys. You know how Metallica do it? They will do it, and they'll keep going until 5 years go by. And then they'll say, it's time to... I can do it again, you know. Robert, you're one hell of a tradesman, and by God, you are a sweet, sweet devil. Paul Stanley here. I was made for loving you, baby. You were made for loving me. I can't get enough of you. That cleared the room. That cleared a couple people out. They went, that's it. Hey. This is going to be real quick, guys. Then we're getting into your comments, and it looks like they're all there. I feel like today has been just a dream come true. Except for, want to hear something crazy? Do I have time to get into this? Okay, before Paul Stanley picks his top 5 Kiss albums of all time, which one of them is going to be... There's going to be one that gives a jab to you know, Sonic Boom or something like that. It's going to be... all right, I'm going to tell you this story about the bus stop. And you can tell me if I read this person wrong or not, okay? So there's this lovely guy. Every time I get on the bus in the morning to go to work, he's sitting there, and I sit in the same spot, good old style. I sit in the same spot. He sits over in his spot. Get the fuck out of my spot. Nice guy. We've been chatting it up. He told me, you know, he was in a car accident. I have a car, but I've been in a car accident. It wasn't my fault. My foot was damaged. My wife's wrist. You know, nice guy. Chat every day, back and forth. And I'm just like, well, what a lovely guy. You know, just sweet. So this morning, I get to the bus stop, and he's there. I've never seen that before, because when I get on the bus, he's already on the bus. There he is at the bus stop. And he's agitated. You know, he's really agitated. You could tell the way he's stomping around. Well, his wife gives him a kiss, and then she walks off because she had to get him some money to get on the bus or something. Because he said, I got to get my $2 for the bus. And I went, I was thinking in my mind, how the hell are you getting away with paying $2? It's $2.50. It's $2.50. How are you getting away with that? Beside the point. And don't tell me that it's your age, because I'm 52, he's 55. He's told me that. So if you're getting $2 deals, I'm getting $2 deals. That's the way it works. Anyways, so he was just talking about how, he's like, I went to the bar last night, this bar over here, just for a couple beers. You never go into a bar, have a couple beers, okay? Let's just be honest with ourselves. You're never going to the bar to have a couple beers. Anyways, he says, and as I'm walking home, I was going to walk across the street or something. This car come up past me or whatever, you know, and he said, stay out of the way, boy, or something like that. And I'm like, oh shit. I mean, I'm sorry to hear that and everything else. And then he's like, he's got a backpack with him. He's like, that's why I carry my fucking backpack. And I'm okay. And he says, so this guy flips around, because I said, fuck you. So this guy flips around, he comes back, and I'm just like, do it. I got my backpack right here. And he keeps brandishing not anything, but a backpack. And he keeps going, I got my fucking backpack here. And I was kind of just, what you have in your backpack? You know? And that's I got more here. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry that happened to you, man. I mean, Jesus, you know, people can be fucking rude like that. Best thing that you can do for that, if you'd like to know, is you say, you don't let any of that out. You know, you want to scream, you want to throw a rock through the window, you want to do this, but you just go, that is simply somebody who's a fucking caveman. That's a cave person. I am an intellectual, I am an intelligent person. This person here is a cave person that has a lot of growing to do, right? Anyways, he's like, I got my backpack with me. Now, every time I get on the bus, I'm going to be thinking about a goddamn backpack. There's the backpack. He's got the backpack. That's not even the worst of it. So, he's agitated. He's going, I got my fucking backpack. I'll pull something out. He didn't say that, but I'm assuming you're going to pull something out of a backpack. He's like, and then there was this other guy. And I'm like, oh, shit. When's the bus going to be here? And he says, this other guy, every time I pull up to this particular place or whatever, he always taps on my car. And I'm like, oh, that's something else. He says, yeah, man, he does it every single day, but he always says, oh, I'm just knocking some dirt off. I ain't hurting your car. I'm just knocking some dirt off. He keeps doing that, right? Tap. He's always tapping on my car. And he's like, so one day, and I'm like, oh boy, one day what? One day? And he pulls out a knife. I does the whole and he's like, I took this fucking knife. And I'm like, oh my God. And he says, and I ran it down the side of his car. Oh, there's the bus. Ding, ding, hello. So I guess my question to you would be did I read him wrong? Because I've been riding next to him for weeks and it's just pleasant, fucking work. Oh, I know, fucking, that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden he's like, you know what this guy did to me? I mean, I shouldn't take that. I don't take that any certain way. Nothing. I have no fear. I do not care what happens in any instance. Irrelevant to me. But I guess, did I read him wrong? Everybody has a bad day. Only thing I can do now, he's not going to be on the bus. Now, I'm doing this podcast on Thursday, so he's not going to be on the bus tomorrow because he's got to go get his wife's pins out of her wrist from the car wreck. So the only way I'm going to know if he goes back to regular guy is Monday. But if he's clutching some kind of a backpack, I might sit in a different spot. That's all I'm saying. Paul Stanley there, and I recognize that roof from anywhere. He's at a proctologist's office. They all have that same ceiling. Because when I get my proctology exams, they like me to lay down on my back on the table. Paul Stanley ranks his top 5 Kiss albums of all time, and he explains why. Now, go watch the interview with Billy Corgan. He's wonderful. Let's see. Did I put that picture down already? I did. Go watch it because there's going to be a part 2 to it, and he's wonderful. Paul Stanley is wonderful when he's just being himself. When he doesn't have to think about business, he's wonderful. In the interview, they go pretty long into Psycho Circus and what happened with all of that, which I liked Billy Corgan doing that. Is they went into all of that kind of like what happened with this dynamic and getting it back together and all that. But Paul says, well, we did Psycho Circus album with me, Gene, and 2 lawyers. In a new interview with Justin Richmond of the Broken Record Podcast, good name, Paul the Starchild Stanley was asked to rank his top 5 Kiss albums. And I'm going to tell you something right now that I thought about when I was listening to that podcast. And I do not mean this in any kind of a rude way, but I was thinking in my own head about the professionalism that is Billy Corgan. And the reason for that is this. He was speaking, Paul was speaking about growing up and understanding what it's like to have a deformity. He used a word for it, deformity challenged or something like that, for his ear. I had no clue. Until, like Billy Corgan said, read his book, that he mentioned the ear. And I went, what? Ear? And please forgive me for keep touching my ear. But the thing where I said that's the difference between Billy Corgan as a podcaster and anyone else, like I'll say me, is he said you know, I had no clue that your ear, you had any kind of a deformity or whatever, you know, and that doesn't make any difference or whatever. And that would have been it, okay? But someone else would have said, let's have a peek at it. And that is wrong. It's just, it's terrible and it's wrong. And I'm not saying I would. I'm just saying that thought popped into my skull when he was like, well, you know, I guess I was asking myself, I wonder if anyone's ever thought that question to ask. Because, you know, you're trying to get hits, you're trying to get zaps and dings and thumbsy-upsies and all of this. You're like, you know, the big reveal. Paul finally shows up, you know. I'm sorry if that comes across as an insensitive thing. It does, I agree. It's terrible. I'm just venting my mind to you, okay? As transcribed, he names them for different reasons. The first has to be Kiss Alive, because Kiss Alive really captured the essence of the live experience. Now, that could have happened without us going into the studio and enhancing it and surrounding you with people. Yeah. There was, I think that's the first time I thought, maybe things aren't live, completely live, with live albums, because Kiss Alive 2, there's a clear cut a couple of times in that album where you hear, you know, like, and one of those, if you're paying attention, is right in the middle of Peter Criss's drum solo. You can hear this weird, you know, just like a slice, and then he's going, you know, it's just, is this going to be any good, guys, this podcast? Is it going to be any good? For different reasons. Live albums were boring for 4 hours. You didn't even know they were live until the end of the songs, where you heard some clapping. But for Kiss, we wanted an album that immersed you. Immersion in the experience, which means being surrounded by people. Like you did those ladies on that bed, Paul. Remember that? You were surrounded by people. Those ladies, they were people. Which means bombs going off that are deafening. Which means fixing any mistakes or broken strings, snobs or purists may have looked down at their nose at the idea. But the truth is that the album is still considered, if not the greatest, one of the greatest, in all of the circles, greatest live album ever. What? In a lot of circles, it's the greatest live album ever. I thought Peter Frampton Comes Alive was the greatest record ever. Another great record is Cheap Trick live at Budokan. Hello now, ladies and gentlemen. Hello now, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready to go? Sorry. I'm still amped from work. It excites me so much. It captured the live experience. Number 2 on my Paul Stanley pick list. Number 2 pick was Kiss's 4th album, 1976 Destroyer. Ever hear of that one? Which was produced by Bob Ezrin, who had previously worked with Alice Cooper. Destroyer, even though it didn't sound much like its predecessor, but working with Bob Ezrin was such an education, such a schooling. He took us to school. Didn't he, Gene? Oh, yeah. He took us to the ladies' room. All the songs, let me tell you about schooling, discipline, upping, and writing, and putting aside, at least temporarily, all the songs about sleeping with this one or this group or your parties, and it raised the bar. So that's what you were singing about, is, you know, having sex with ladies and all that. And you wanted to up the bar, put in a song about drunk driving and a couple other things. And a sweet story about just a young gal that you keep telling Peter to hang the fucking phone up. Hey, Gene, is he over there on the phone again? Oh, yeah, he's over there on the phone again with Beth. You know, and he's got to say, Beth, I hear you calling, but I can't come right now because Paul and Gene are in there telling me to get off the damn phone. Shout it out loud to him, Gene. Get off the phone! You know. Elsewhere, Stanley chooses 2009's It's a bullseye. Didn't I tell you he was going to say Sonic Boom? Because he's going to say, because Tommy Thayer rocked it like no one ever did. Elsewhere, 2009 Sonic Boom, which marked Kiss's first album to feature, you may have heard of this fella, lead guitarist Tommy Thayer. Sonic Boom was a great album by a band that recognized its roots, and recognized where it came from, and picked up that slack and kept moving forward. He does talk a little bit about that, indeed, with Billy Corgan. I love that album, and I love the spirit that went into it, where everybody knew what they wanted to do, and at our best, and most people's best, and I think it comes from trying to make the team or the band or whatever you're involved in better. He also talked about, being in the band with them damn bastards. I'm hoping that Billy Corgan has the other two bastards on there. He's done Gene now and Paul. I'd like Peter and Ace. They get their fair due say too. But I do really, what was I going to say? Oh, and he talked about that a little bit. Whatever the hell it was. Sonic Boom, he was saying, yes, that was the comeback because they realized it wasn't going to work out and such. You go watch Billy's podcast. He does it way better than me. Sonic Boom was really, really palatable. And a great album. You ever use the word palatable when you think of heavy metal music, hard rock music? I listened to that fucking Boston record the other night. Have you heard that one? That kick-ass Boston record that's got all those classic hits on it? And it was pretty palatable. It's a great album, though, Shane. You got to admit it. And if a song like Modern Day Delilah had been on a rock and roll over, it would be classic. But songs take decades to gain that kind of patina. Or to have that live connection of when you heard that song at a certain time in your life. So, as time went on, songs could be great. But they didn't have the luster and the patina of being tied to the past. So whether it was Modern Day Delilah, Hella Hallelujah, or Kiss' 2012 album Monster, I just found myself going, that's as good as it gets. And it's different time now, and people don't connect to songs as timepieces or pardon me, Paul. Jesus, burping all over your name. And it's a different time now we're living in. And people don't connect to songs as a timepiece or a song photograph of a certain period. So Sonic Boom booms all over them. It would be in the top 3. Paul, top 3. Oh, he's got to get. I'm reading the shit that's down here, you guys. Sorry. Almost to your comments. Almost there. Paul then picked 19. Now we're going. This is 2, or is this 4 out of 5? Paul then picked 1976's Rock and Roll Over. I absolutely love that album cover. It is just a piece of perfect art. I like that album. It doesn't sound anywhere near what we sounded like, and that's after Kiss Alive. It was very elusive for us. Perhaps because of some of the people we were working with. It just escaped us. We did something real focus and clarity of what we did something with real focus and clarity of what we were doing. So that's really good. And the Kiss Unplugged. Now, before it says anything about that, this would be the olive branch, wouldn't it? The Kiss olive branch that is extended out to Ace and Peter, and they come in and they say, I think you weren't too bad. Stanley's final choice was the 1996 Kiss Unplugged, which was recorded in studio from the television programming studio, indeed, of MTV Unplugged, and released as part of a series of live and video albums. He said, "I love Kiss Unplugged. That album, I just listened to some of that a couple days ago. That band at that point was just on fire. No effects, no amplifiers, no running around." Well, you said you couldn't do the rock. You could do the rock and roll forever if you didn't wear the outfits, but you didn't. But you don't want to wear the outfits no more. You do want to keep wearing the outfits if you're going to do the rock. "Us with guitars and drums and singing our asses off." And also, he gave us a chance to showcase the songs. Because I've always adhered to the idea that a good song can be played on one guitar. That's not a bad little logical thing there. I was processing that. Where did I lose my spot? No, it wasn't there. Played on one guitar. If you had to go, well, wait till you hear the sound effects on this song. No. A great song can be stripped away, and it's fantastic. So to hear "Sure Know Something," oh my gosh. Should I do it? You guys are gonna love this. You're gonna love this. Just gonna rip it. Just gonna beef it. Just gonna beef it off one real quick. So like a song like "Sure Know Something" can be played on a single guitar. Okay. That don't count. I've got my nerves, guys. I got my nerves. Dude, I'm telling you right now, I play that perfectly when I'm not filming myself. I just threw a little tantrum there. Did you just see that? Turn this around so it looks better. One more time. Guys, one more time. One more time. To hell with the rest of his list. We're getting into your comments after this. You guys thought I was lying there for a minute. There's a couple of you that said he's a fucking bullshit liar. That proved it's not a lie. Over here. And now would be it'd be as good a time as any for me to just hurry and hit that bathroom break. We're going to bring up your comments here. Indeed, they are all ready to go, and we will get into that portion of this podcast right after these messages. What would you do if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ears and I'll read your emails, and I will try not to sing out of key. I get by with a little help from the comments. I'm gonna try with a little help from the comments. Welcome back from that bathroom break. Very quick. You know, I've diced this up, but I'll tell you right now, it's just about 2 minutes. I like to look at myself in the mirror just a quick second, just to make sure everything's all right afterwards. You know, technically, I mean, what's an average pee, really? 20 seconds, half hour. This guy at work, he needs to go see somebody because he's pissing every 10 minutes. It's like, dude, you got to be able to drain that out of your system and go a little while. Let's get into your comments, my friends. It is the best part of this podcast. It's my favorite part because we get down to the nitty-gritty of what you agree with and disagree with from the last episode. So if you want to be part of this, then great. Listen to the episodes, and it's always good to listen to the very end because you never know when a juicy nugget's going to... One of these guys pop out a good nugget, and you're like, damn. And it's in the comments. Do you understand what I'm saying here? Sometimes the news from Blabbermouth, the wonderful Blabbermouth, is not quite as good as the comments. Ed Weller coming in. Ed, let's take a look at Ed and see. Ed, he's got 8 comments. He's got 3 hearts. So Ed, you've been around. You've sampled. You've been down the back alley. You've sampled a bit of the Shane Diablo channel, but you've come back for more. I thank you for that. He says, you rock, brother. Freaking thumbsy upsy emoticon and sunglasses. Thank you, my friend. And you get a heart for that. And 4 thumbs ups. 4 other people agreed that I rock. Now, guys, this guy right here. This is the guy. Not a bad person. Kind of funny, actually. I thought it was funny. But this is the guy born on the Matterhorn that said, I look like paging Mr. M-O-R-R-O-W, Moreau. And he's written here, paging Mr. Diablo. So I think that's fun. You know, I've mentioned that I have a hard time telling if people are being rude to me or being nice. But I don't care either way. So that really helps. But I am tending to believe that Born on the Matterhorn, is that the ride from Disney's? God, that'd be wonderful if that was true. He's like, my mother on the Matterhorn. She went into labor indeed by the end of the 2-minute ride that cost us, well, Dad's entire 2-week vacation and a whole shit ton of our savings to go there, to Disney World land. She indeed had me in the seats of the Matterhorn. But I'd love to know more. Thank you, sir. We've got Johnny B coming in here with episode 183. Wow. He's doing a recap. Wow. What a journey, right? The ups and downs, the lefts and the rights, the highs and the lows, the laughter, the tears, the joy, and the sadness, and the friends and the lovers we made along the way. All night. That was a little dramatic. Sorry. Happy 183rd regardless. Exclamation point, exclamation point. Okay, so here's Johnny B. He's getting into, he likes to do a little recap. Tell me how good things are here. And then he gets into it. So, Nick Jonas is going to play Paul Stanley in the upcoming Kiss biopic. Does that mean Justin Timberlake will play Ace? He's kind of a funny guy, isn't he? That Justin Timberlake. I've seen him on like Saturday Night Live and shit. How about Joey Fatone? And no, I won't call him Fat One, because that's what they used to say. As Gene Simmons. Oh, yeah. And, of course, Mark Wahlberg as Peter C. Said in this Boston accent. Peter C. Yeah. What was that movie he was in where he had the prosthetic wiener? I think Burt Reynolds was in it, too. Now, that's a cast. That's what Johnny B says. That is one hell of a cast. You've got Nick Jonas, Justin Timberlake, Joey Fatone, and Mark Wahlberg as Kiss. Perfect. They could do all the Kiss songs in boy band style. Would you see it? I would pretty much see anything. I would watch it. And why am I just now learning that Yingwie was asked to join? Yingwie was asked to join in 1982. He's talking about Kiss. That means he would have replaced Vinny V. And there would have been, okay, off topic slightly. Has anyone been hearing the rumblings of a Vinnie Vincent Invasion third album that somebody put up online or something? Can you tell me more? I don't want to hear none of that speedball gumball. I don't need any speedball gumball, but I'd like to hear if there was an unreleased third Invasion record. I'd like to hear that if it's got whatever. That means he would have replaced Vinny V, and there would have been no Mark St. John, and possibly no Bruce Coolsnick. Intentionally misspelled. Can you imagine Gene, Paul, Yingui standing there in a room together? Oh yeah, that's a bloodbath. That is a damn bloodbath between the three of their egos. The amount of ego and narcissistic personality disorder would have been enough to fill the Empire State Building a few times over. And Eric, would have gone crazy. But it might have worked for a couple of albums. Yeah, Eric Carr. He would have been, could you imagine that? Eric Carr, Yngwie, fucking Gene Simmons. It exists somewhere. In some kind of alternate reality, that's going on right now. They're doing a end of the road tour in some far off vector universe somewhere. It's those four guys, and they're doing an end of the world tour, end of the road tour. They are. They have gone crazy, but it might have worked for a couple of albums, and they may have recorded "I Am a Viking." And You Don't Remember, I'll Never Forget. Together, and oh God, could you hear Paul? You don't remember, I'll never forget. Together, and Actual had a couple more hits off those records. Yeah, I did, but you got freaking Lick It Up. And that sucker is paid for summer homes. Not for Vinny, but everybody else gets a summer home. Yingwie would have been like, "Und where's the makeup? Oh, I will be the Viking boy god. Paul will be my Viking Starchild bitch. And you will like it, Gene. Paul will be my Viking Starchild bitch. And you're going to like it, Gene. That's just the way it is." Gene replies, "Oh yeah." Answer to, isn't this fun, guys? It's a simple fucking question. Isn't this fun? I'm having a blast. Johnny B still going here. We got through that big hunk. Here we go. Answer to some questions from last week. I pee directly in the middle and hover just above the ball. I do that style too. I pee directly in the middle and hover just above the hole that all the waste goes down. Waste goes down it. What else goes in besides wee-wee? I don't like the bubbly noise either. Oh, see? But this allows for minimum spillage, this is the question, on the seat afterwards. Okay, my question is, if you're nailing that water in the middle, aren't you getting like raindrops? I mean, if it hits hard enough, you know, are you going to get a little bit of splashback no matter what? I mean, I get none. I'm just saying right now, I get none. No, none. I find it effective and unproblematic. Okay, hold on. Middle and hover just above the hole. So you're not banging it right in. You're kind of doing one of these arcs. Do you stand back a ways? I encourage everyone to give it a go. The car in question is a 2020. Oh, his car. What? Yes. rush hour fucking animal attack. The car in question is a 2025 Buick Invista with all the bells and whistles. What do we have, John, over there? It's the 2025 Buick Invista. That's the wrong song, isn't it? We traded our other car in for this one because we got an awesome deal on it, and it is 5.5%. Deal on it and 5.5%. Not bad. Update on that. The body shop has all parts in order, and we're waiting for a loaner. The loaner car, they're going to give you a little smart car. They like to hand those out to people. Thanks to everyone who prayed for that poor deer in which I killed. Yeah, it's horrible. But you know, that's a cosmic twist, okay, bud? Don't cry yourself to sleep over it. It's a circumstance. It's a something else. And lastly, Johnny B says, and lastly, I have decided, after a lot of thought, to discontinue the Y-Files. Oh. All of the UAP UFO news being reported lately is very negative. Yeah. Anything that has that negative side to it. And not all that interesting. And I decided to spare everyone that time. You're giving people about 5 minutes of their life back. Don't not anyone ever tell you that you aren't a great person. I had been thinking about reimagining the segment, but I ran out of ideas and have decided to shit can it all together and concentrate on what's being discussed on the weekly podcast. So you just want to get focused back on business. I understand this. It wasn't very good anyway. Maybe your part. Mine was... If you hop on TikTok or X, you can see a lot of stuff I was talking about. Maybe down the road, something else will transpire. Who knows? But you won't be reporting on it. That's what we know for sure. And as it is, so shall it be. Excellent show. Johnny B says, excellent show. As always, Shane Reno loved hearing all the comments and loved Mike B's review of the Goonies, as read by Gollum also. Great to hear about Miss Althea's hubby on the mend and doing well. The power of prayer sometimes comes in handy. The power of positive thinking as well. I'm telling you, what the day that I decided to say, you know what? I'm going to go one day and not watch a single negative thing. If I get the slightest inkling that it's a he said, she said, them, that, there, they, what, anything, I'm out. One day. And then I went 2 days. And then I went a week. And then I says, you know what? There's this lady at work. She just gets under my skin. And then I told myself, I'm going to go to work and I'm not going to think about, because it's the workload that she gives me, Getting rid of the judgment, getting rid of the negative, getting rid of all that. That's as simple as it can get. And you will feel so much better because it gets rid of the anxiety, the what if. Oh God, the bill's tomorrow. Oh. When you're living under anxiety like that all the time, you're not you. Okay, there you go. Good job. What's that? I read it all. Did I read it all? There we go. Bang. Miss Althea coming in here. The dumbstruck fool says the short list returns. ... Nick Jonas cast as Paul Stanley. No. Nothing against Nick, really. I enjoyed him on Hawaii Five-0 when he had a recurring role as a villain. But him as Paul, I just don't see it. Maybe I will be convinced otherwise once everything gets underway and trailers start surfacing. Well, what if they get Joey Fatone and all them? Let me know. Miss Althea on Striper. Thank goodness the situation with the plane was not worse and that it did not turn into modern day reboot of Airport. Surely you can't be serious. I am serious, and don't call me Shirley. But I was admittedly distracted by the photo of the band that accompanied the piece. Was Michael Sweet being, has he been getting Botox treatments? Well, that's what the big cigar chomping guy down at the record label says. I'm telling you, you're falling apart, buddy. You just need a little bit under here, and your whole career is going to be revived. One thing I want to make an edit or a caveat in this is, I think I called Stryper Slayer when I instantly showed the picture of the band, and I saw him wearing black. I thought it was Slayer for a minute. Another story we won't be talking about is Michael Sweet said he's figured out the reason why. If people don't like Slayer, if they hate Slayer, that means they hate God. So that's what he's figured out for Stryper. And there's nothing guilty about that. There's nothing, guilt doesn't give you any kind of, or religion doesn't give you any kind of guilt or make you feel guilty in any kind of a way, does it? I was admittedly distracted by photos of the band and company. Yes, Michael Sweet, Botox treatments. You got to get them. You got to get a little tickle under here. You got to get them ears pulled back, when they get that done. And you see that scar that runs right around the ears. And you say, I haven't had any work done. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Well, I can see the scar on your ears. No, they've always been there. It's how they pulled me out of my mother. They have those big tongs. Miss Althea on the Baz Man. That's Sebastian Bach. Baz singing Bathroom Wall with Faster Pussycat. Immediate deduction to him for not getting the damn phone number correct. Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, come on. Even people who hate Faster Pussycat know the song backwards and forwards because it's so damn elementary. I wonder how much money they've made off that. I bet you could turn a rock radio station on and it's playing somewhere. And that's the sign of a hit. I don't want anything new. This laptop is an HP, and it's like they built in some kind of commercial center or something, because it'll just like, ping, hey, how you doing? You should buy this now. I preferred Ted Poley's take on it when he covered for Tammy on the, on the Fly at the M3 Festival a while back. You did a video autopsy on it at my request some time ago. The reason why Baz said, this is one for the last fucking times we get to rock. I'm surprised you understood that. This is one of the last fucking times we get to rock. Is because the club they were playing in, Vamped, is closing down for good at the end of June. That's a hot one out there. I've heard that name quite a bit. That's where some risky business gets down. That's where they get into, they have a good time at Vamped. I was going to say owned by Johnny Depp, but that's not Vamped. That's the other one. Last but definitely not least from Miss Althea, much love and support to Big Tone and his family. Stay strong, brother. Keeping it bitchy. And the peace, keeping it bitchy, but with peace. Yep. There you go, Miss Althea. Very good. On Thursday I start hitting these hearts. See, that's why you want to be part of this whole thing. If I know a couple of you are still hanging around. You might be grinding your teeth. You might be punching your pillow, but you're hanging around. You're watching. You're gonna say, I'm gonna fucking make it to the end of this. It kills me. But that's why you do it. There's good people putting comments down there. And the point that I'm trying to make is when I hit these suckers on Thursday, they know there's going to be an episode on Saturday. Because that's when I record this podcast. Mike Buchanan will indeed end it off with his Jive Talkin Jokes of the Week. But first, we have to start at the very beginning with the 69er Man. On this week's Movies That Are Bad, But We Love Them Anyways, Earth versus the Spider, 1958, as reviewed by the Spider. Oh, it looks, no respect,
My side of the earth versus the spider. Look, I didn't ask to be radioactive. One minute I'm minding my own business like I like to do, spinning webs and listening to jazz. You know, that classic stuff, like Mac the Knife, Etta Jones, stuff like that, in my cozy little cave. Nat King Cole as well, you know. The next thing I know, I'm 50 feet tall, glowing like a Vegas sign, and being hunted down by a bunch of screaming humans who clearly skipped their biology classes. Let's talk about the real villains here, science. Some eggheads started messing around with radiation, and I get blamed when things go sideways? Classic scapegoating. Or should I say, spider-goating. The movie portrays me as this mindless, rampaging monster, but come on. How would you feel if you woke up 10 stories tall with a sudden craving for cattle and terrified Boy Scouts? I was confused, okay? And maybe a little hungry. A little Boy Scout tasted nice. The special effects don't even get me started. I've got 8 perfectly good legs, and they animated me like I'm doing the Macarena underwater. And what's with the constant screaming? I'm an arachnid, not an arsonist. Just trying to live my best post-mutated life. To add insult to injury, they didn't even give me a name. The spider? Really? That's like calling King Kong the monkey. It's rude. In conclusion, if you're looking for an unfair smear campaign against a chemically altered arachnid who just wanted a quiet life and maybe a goat or two, this movie is for you. But if you're looking for a nuanced, emotional story about a transformation, trauma, and the dangers of unchecked scientific ambition, go watch Charlotte's Web.
It's pretty good. Someone clip that up, animate it, and let's get this going. Mike Buchanan's Movies That Are Bad, but we love them anyways. Come on.
Do better, Hollywood.
You're going to have to clip that and put it in next to the Go Watch Charlotte's Web.
Grab your favorite beverage, sit in your favorite chair, pop some popcorn, and press play. Oh, and don't forget The Raid. And now, on to the podcast featuring Mike Buchanan's thoughts.
First off, I've been here since episode 001. Episode 028 started of bad jokes, oh, really? Okay, this is good. Episode 28 started off bad jokes, but it was episode 30 that I added the Jive Talkin Jokes of the Week tagline. Episode 68, I started a new segment. Jesus. How do you remember this? Episode 68, I started a new segment, Movies That Are Bad, but we love them anyways. My comments have been on every evolving journey over time. One day, that will amount to something. Somewhere, somehow. In some vector, somewhere. And it matters to me. Is that it? Oh, wait, no. Here we go. Yinghui. Mike Buchanan on Yinghui. Can you imagine if he and Billy Sheehan had played together? ? What would have Kiss sounded like with Yinghui? All I'm saying is that the next studio album, please don't sing. Go find a real singer. Really? I've heard that before from other folks that they're saying, it's better when you have a singer. And that's not being rude to Yngwie. Yngwie, please let me bend your ear for a moment, Yngwie. You are an amazing guitar player. You play the Banana Yellows. You are amazing. I saw an interview with Nuno Betancourt, who spoke of you so highly and said what a phenomena you are. You don't have to sing, too. Get a singer. And then, you know what? And Yngwie, I may be talking out of school here, but if you're still listening, and I hope you haven't ticked away, you may be able to get an extra lick out. If you're not singing into a microphone while you're doing that, you might be able to get another one off. So it's something to think about. Mike Buchanan on Nick Jonas. I suppose he's able to sing and play guitar, but really, I have no desire to see that. On a different note, do you think that the person they cast to play Gene Simmons will have to go pay Gene Simmons $50,000 to have the honor of playing him? I'm sure, Gene likes to make a little extra cash on he calls it scratch, and he likes to have a little extra scratch on the side to do fun things with. And there's Mike Buchanan. He's calling me right out on that Striper thing. Dude, you called Striper Slayer. Ah, ha, 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 ha. Sorry, didn't hear anything after that. Yes. Was laughing way too much. Yeah, it's just like one of them slips. I was like, I think I called him Slayer. You really should hear Sebastian sing Triumph's song. He's really good. Really? They got back together again, but what? That one fellow, they didn't allow him to come. The bass player. What was the deal with that? They played somewhere after X amount of years, like a long time. Boy, every time the power, what's those songs? They got a couple of great tunes, Triumph. Man, I want to look them up now, but why are they not coming to my mind? Geez. And now it's time for the Jive Talkin Jokes of the Week to end this here episode of 184. Thank you for coming. Where do bumblebees go for a wee? To the BP station, of course. What do you call a kinky dinosaur? Do you have a sore ass? I could tell you guys a story right now. Not about my sore ass, but about hearing about someone else's sore ass. It's amazing that people will tell me some of the things that and I don't know why. It's like, I don't want to know those things. Do you have a sore ass? Did you hear that scientists have grown vocal cords in a petri dish? So far, the results speak for themselves. Why do pirates believe in themselves? Because they know who they are. And finally, 184. This man here, we are ending on 184, and by God, he has put a comment on every single episode. We are now ending with this joke here. Why does my wife always wait until I'm at the opposite end of the house before asking me to So does this joke mean that you're asking the question as you're walking away from your wife? So it becomes a mumble? Why does my wife always wait until I'm at the opposite end of the house before asking me to... You know what it sounds like the second time? And you don't want to know what the third time is. I'll show myself out. Well done, you guys. Thank you, one and all. We made it through another episode. There will be thousands of these because I enjoy doing it. See, look at that. And I don't even know. He's got his banana yellows. That's the old episode. Anyways, we're getting on out. You've done it. You've made it through. I'm proud of you. I'm always proud of you. Don't ever not think that I'm not proud of you, okay? You really need to know this. You can do whatever it is you want to do in life. You just have to put yourself in. You just have to commit yourself fully. You have to commit yourself fully to whatever your hopes and dreams are, and they can come true for you. You got to cut out all that stuff. It's the first step. Any negativity. I'm doing this now. Someone starts going, and furthermore, I go, I'm out. I'm leaving. It is irrelevant to me. It means nothing. Okay, come on. Let's get something good. Tone. Oh yeah. Hey baby, who's at the door? Hey baby, who's at the door? Sit. Jive Talkin with Shane D. Get your motherfucking heavy metal news with me. Well, we had a good time and we can't wait for 185.